Hi, and thanks again for tuning in to STL TV, where you can experience St. Louis. I'm your host, Michael C. Anderson, and today I am very excited to have not one, not two, but three guests here joining me. First, I have Allison Fitzgerald from Diamonds in the Ruff Rescue, and I also have Charles Hackmann, an animal advocate, and last but definitely not least, I have one of the current dogs available for adoption, Farah. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
So, Allison, I want to go ahead and start with you. What is Diamonds in the Ruff Rescue?
So first, thanks for having us here today. Diamonds in the Ruff Rescue is actually a fairly new rescue. We're located in St. Peters. We're foster-based only rescue. We're also nonprofit, which means we fundraise and rely on donations for helping these dogs out as far as veterinary care. Fosters, we rely 100% on fosters, meaning if we have an open house, we can put a dog in it. If there's not enough fosters, then we can't rescue dogs.
Wow, 100% foster-based, no brick and mortar, no actual building. It's just relying on those volunteers to take them in and do the right thing. That's amazing. And I heard that Farah here was one of those dogs that, Charles, we have you to thank for saving her. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So I got introduced to Allison and Annie a couple weeks back. I go to local shelters and try to help foster dogs get adopted. I do Facebook Lives, I make reels for them. I really try to showcase these dogs in an environment to where it's not just a picture on Facebook, you know? I equate this to if you're gonna buy a house or you're gonna buy a car and you only see 2 pictures or 3 pictures, you're not gonna purchase that car or that house. You need to see more if you're gonna, buy into it. So if you can show a dog's personality, you can show them on a live video, you can show me interacting with them personally. So when I tell you that this dog is friendly and when I tell you this dog has a personality, you're able to see it on camera. So I actually went out and met them because they had a dog named Lucille, was a little micro bully. I said, I'm gonna come out there, I'm gonna do a live stream with her and try to get her adopted. And as I was there doing a live stream with Lucille, you guys had what, 10 puppies come in? While I was there, they immediately gave them their shots, immediately took pictures, immediately gave them all their veterinary care up front. And I just realized this is a fantastic organization. Like literally, the dogs literally came through the door and the first thing they did was make sure that they were getting veterinary care. And what, 2 hours later, Lucille was adopted based on my video?
2 hours?
Yep.
Wow.
2 hours later, somebody came and adopted
You must
Lucille.
make some great videos,
I try my best to showcase these dogs. Because like I said, there's, if there's 100 dogs lined up, what separates your dog from the other 99? Like you have to do something to give this dog an opportunity to showcase itself. And that's what I try to do. And I just feel it's an obligation to the animal to showcase them in the best possible light to get them adopted. And that's what I try to do.
Well, I think that's just great. And so how did you two initially link up? You said you started in 2023, correct? Mm-hmm. Diamonds in the Ruff. And when did you start doing your videos?
So I initially started doing, I was rescuing horses in Oklahoma back all the way in 2007. And at the time, my focus was mainly horses. I was working on the oil field. I was making a substantial amount of money. I didn't need funds from other people. I didn't need donations. I was basically fundraising everything myself, paying everything myself. At one time, I had 27 rescue horses because I would go to these sales. I would see a mama and the baby that came in there that were skin and bones, that were literally going off to slaughter or going to, a place that they didn't deserve to be. And I would, for one, pay the $500 to $700 to buy them. And then I would take them home, provide vet care, feed them, and then I would diligently work to make sure that they were placed in a good home. So my initial start was mostly horses.
Gotcha. And then now
obviously, I've really made the transition to dogs because horses is a very expensive rescue,
right?
And you can only do so much, especially when you're funding everything yourself. So I just decided it's a lot. Like I still have 3 horses. I'm still passionate. All 3 of my horses are rescues. But now I'm more focused on dogs because I feel like that is where the need is the most right now because we are, like Allison said earlier, we're in a crisis.
Yeah, so can you guys tell us more about this need, about more what you do? You're in St. Peters, correct?
Correct.
So what do you do with the donations? Why do you need it? What kind of great work are you doing?
Yeah, so every rescue, Diamonds in the Rough including, is included, but every rescue, every humane society, every shelter that you can drive by right now, they're absolutely full. What can you do? You can donate, you can volunteer, you can foster a dog. Donations, like Charles was saying, 100% goes to the dog. We make sure that it is 100% for the dog because these guys need veterinary care. We get a lot of heartworm positive dogs. We get a lot of broken legs. Just the basic care costs a lot of money. So that's what we do with any donations.
And then these are mostly abandoned dogs, just dogs you find on the street. Where do you kind of get most of them?
They could be surrenders. So if people just don't want their dog anymore, can't afford them. I will tell you, we don't just say, yes, we'll take them in. We try to work with people. If they need us to sponsor some of their food or vet bills, for example, maybe they need heartworm prevention. We'll try to keep that dog in the home. If it's a loving home, we will absolutely try to help there. So.
But if someone did want to get into fostering, what's that kind of look like? What kind of responsibilities would they have? How could I get into it if I was interested?
Yeah, absolutely. So you just go on our website and you fill out an application. Somebody will call you. They will interview you essentially and just talk to you a little bit about what's your house like, what kind of pets do you have in that home. We want to make sure that we put a compatible dog inside your home. So you could do 2 puppies, you could do 1 puppy, you could be, you could have a whole litter of puppies.
Right. So, for instance, for Farah here, does she also need a foster home as well as a permanent home right now?
Well, she's with me right now, and she's amazing. She is available for adoption, but dogs like Farah are fantastic. Some will come in, they need time to decompress. Some other dogs will come in and they're ready for the party, they're fine, they get along with a lot of the other pets. I take a lot of time for them to just sort of calm down and make sure that they're going to get along with the rest of the dogs in the house.
And as I can attest to, she came in and she doesn't have an aggressive bone in her body or anything. She was just like slinking around, and she's been very sweet and very calm. And I mean, it would be a lot for a person to come in here with all these lights and all this going on, and she couldn't be more relaxed.
She's a sweetheart.
I think that's a true testament to what dogs truly are. I mean, if you guys saw the videos either on my Facebook or the ones I submitted to the station of the conditions, the horrendous conditions this dog and the babies and the other dogs were living in, she doesn't have to trust people again. But she does. I mean, she's literally nothing but a love bug. Like, she just loves people. She loves, the fact that she's no longer in that environment. And like I said, it's just a true testament to dogs' character that they're so forgiving and so loving, even when you've mistreated and abused them. And dogs like Farah, they're really special.
Well, Charles, I mean, I know both of you are obviously very passionate about this. What do you think people need to know about animal abuse and neglect, and basically how to be a good dog owner so these kind of things don't keep happening?
So there's a lot of angles to attack this. So let's start with the dog owner. For one, you need to research your breed, right? So if you live in a 1-bedroom apartment and you want to get a Husky or a Great Dane or a St. Bernard, you might want to understand the breed. So one of my dogs is a Red Heeler, right? And a Red Heeler is a cattle dog. It literally is a dog that is bred for working on a farm, like it needs a job. And you see people get dogs like Red Heelers, German Shepherds, Huskies, the Great Danes. And then a month later, 2 months later, I didn't know that this dog had this much energy. There's no room. I don't have no time. I can't afford to feed this Great Dane anymore. I didn't know they eat 8 cups of food a day. I mean, this is stuff that, like, if you're going to be a responsible pet owner, like you just suggested, you need to understand the breed. Maybe you need to get more of a beagle-like dog that's very quiet, that's very just low-key, instead of someone like that. Like, we're not saying you can't adopt a dog. We're not saying you can't foster a dog, but be smart about it. Get a breed and get a dog that is compatible for your home and it's going to work for your home. So from that angle, I think the biggest thing is do your research, have some respect for your home, have some respect for the animal that you're going to bring into your home, and just make a smart, educated decision if that animal is right for that environment.
I agree. I used to have a border collie he's my favorite dog ever. He's so smart, so loyal, but he had the most energy of any dog of all time. So you just have to, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
You have to commit every day, a couple hours of exercise, getting them out, doing all those kinds of things. Allison, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to add that that's something that we can help you with, though. If you wanted to foster a dog, like I said, I would basically interview you and make sure that you knew what Farah needed. Farah might not, she might need just the remote and a TV. Other dogs, they do need to work. They need a job. Most dogs do need a job of some sort. But we'll find the compatible dog for you.
Find the right one. There's a right dog for everyone. There's so many breeds nowadays. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you're active, not active, you can definitely find the right one. And I agree. I wish people would know absolutely what they're getting into, because it's not a temporary thing. You're not, dogs aren't supposed to we'll try it out for a year. No, that dog's gonna love you, bond to you, and just be a good little doggy. Well, I really appreciate you two both coming in today. Everything you do, your work. Charles, I know you've seen a lot of horrible things in what you do, but I'm sure you've seen a lot of wonderful things when you finally get to see these loving, pure souls get adopted. Allison, thank you very much.
There's one more thing I want to touch on as part of, as we were talking about responsible pet ownership. There are laws in Missouri to protect these animals. And the problem is they're not being enforced. So if you go to the Humane Society of Missouri's website, there is a current list of all the laws that protect animals and what rights public officials have to remove those animals if they see them being tortured, abused, neglected. And the problem is, right now, everything's just a misdemeanor. But even if you're not charging people with a misdemeanor and there's no accountability and there's no repercussions for their actions, that doesn't scare anyone. So even if we go to Jefferson City and we push to turn everything into a felony, if they're not being charged with misdemeanors, what does it matter if it becomes a felony? You have to start at the very beginning and hold these people accountable and show, hey, abuse of these animals is not going to be tolerated. You will be prosecuted. And I was kind of talking to Allison earlier, like it's such a gray area, right? For one, everybody's slammed. It is a crisis. These police and these animal control agents, they get these calls, and maybe they don't have anywhere for that night for the animals to go, but that's no excuse, because tomorrow that animal might not be there. So my biggest thing is, if you see abuse, neglect, or torture of animals, you need to report it. And if nothing gets done, you need to report it again. You need to keep reporting until something is done and action is taken, because guess what? In a day or 2 days, that animal might not be there. And in Farah's case, and Charlie, and the Angels, the dogs that came from the DeSoto house, an individual had reported them being in that home in the freezing cold. Now, if the animal control and the people involved with that would have taken action, those puppies that I found that were deceased in that home could have still been alive. So it's a big deal, man. Like I said, there needs to be repercussions for these actions. And once again, even if you just start with charging people, there needs to be some kind of monetary punishment as well, because you just dropped 10 dogs on Diamonds in the Rough. Guess what? Those volunteers and the rescue are paying all those fees, and these people get off the hook and they don't have to pay anything. So there has to be changes. Well,
I know you're so passionate because you care so much, and like I said, I do, and I also don't want to know some of the things you've seen. I've seen some of your videos. It's graphic, but it's very important. So, and I don't know what goes through people's heads when they even do anything. So just be a responsible pet owner, know what you're doing, make sure others are being responsible, and make sure these lovers don't have to go through that, because they are pure souls and they have so much more love to give. So I would like to thank you both again so much for the work you do and for coming in today. And for you out there, if you would like to learn more and to help them with their efforts, for Charles, you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or you can go email stlrescuedogs@gmail.com. And then for Diamonds in the Rough, you can see all the new dogs on Facebook. I would personally love window shopping for a dog. It's so easy. Keep doing that. Check them out at their website, ditrrmo.org. Facebook, Instagram, everything. Donate if you can, foster if you can, help any way you can, because there's a lot of dogs that need help and they are doing the work for you. You just have to give a little bit. Well, for everyone out there, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on stltv.net and all of our social media channels. For STL TV, I'm Michael C. Anderson. Until next time.